So there are, of course, many Oscar wins I adore. Many of them I love, most of them I like. But sometimes, yes, there are some Oscar wins I dislike, even hate. Hi, it's Brian. Welcome to the Awards Contender, and I have a very interesting video for you today. What are some Oscar wins that I hate, most people like or love? I've got some fun choices here, and also since this list would have been really overwhelming if I was considering every single category, I decided, at least for this video, to only focus on Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Actress. Are you ready? Here we go. Number 10, Best Picture, Gandhi.
General Dyer is but an extreme example of the principle. It is time you left.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this win. In the 1980s at the Academy Awards, Best Picture often went to the most grandiose, epic film. Gandhi, of course, has things to like about it. The Ben Kingsley performance is very good. But Best Picture at the Oscars over E.T.? E.T. the Extraterrestrial, I just think is a landmark movie in the history of motion pictures. And like Kingsley could win actor, that's fine. Although in that category, I would have gone with Paul Newman for the verdict. In Best Picture, I think the Golden Globes here got it right. They went with E.T. in Best Motion Picture Drama. For Best Picture at the Oscars, I don't know. There's just something kind of stale about that Gandhi win 40 plus years later. I would have gone with E.T. Number 9, Best Actor, James Stewart, The Philadelphia Story.
Tracy,
What do you want?
you're wonderful.
So I, of course, do not hate James Stewart. He is one of my favorite actors, is in so many incredible films, and The Philadelphia Story is one of his best movies. I mean, you have Stewart, Katharine Hepburn, and Cary Grant in a fantastic film from 1940. So why would I say I hate this Best Actor win? I just think in James Stewart's long career, there were so many iconic performances he gave that should have gotten him a Best Actor Oscar victory, like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, or It's a Wonderful Life, or Harvey, or a couple of Alfred Hitchcock movies he wasn't even nominated for, Rear Window and Vertigo. He is on another level in both of those Hitchcock films, and didn't even get into the Oscars, which is insane. It's perfectly okay with me that James Stewart won an Oscar in his long career, but I just don't think his performance in The Philadelphia Story is necessarily Oscar-worthy. That to me feels like one of those annoying makeup wins after he didn't take home the gold trophy the year before for Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Plus, a much better Best Actor Oscar win that year would have been by far Henry Fonda for The Grapes of Wrath. I think that is a dazzling dramatic performance, much more layered and complex than Stewart in The Philadelphia Story. So yeah, even though the movie's great, and I of course adore James Stewart, I've just never been a big fan of his Oscar victory for The Philadelphia Story. Number 8, Best Picture, The Bridge on the River Quai.
Sergeant Major, take the men to work.
Okay, so I know this one's going to be controversial. I feel like The Bridge on the River Quai is considered by many one of the best films of the 1950s, but I have to be honest with you guys. I watched this in either high school or college, and it was okay. And then recently I did a binge watch of all of David Lean's movies. I hadn't seen like 5 or 6 of them, so I watched them all in order. And when I got to The Bridge on the River Quai, I was like, okay, I am older, I am more mature, I am going to love this movie this time. And it took me 3 sittings to get through it. I thought it was so dull. It wasn't connecting with me at all. Like, I just did not really enjoy myself. And it took a while for me to get to the end of that movie. I just kept stopping it, doing other things. I'm like, no. I absolutely love his films that bookend The Bridge on the River Quai. 1955 Summertime, starring Katharine Hepburn, is a masterpiece. I loved every second of that. And then, of course, his landmark 1962 epic, Lawrence of Arabia, is phenomenal. But The Bridge on the River Quai, I don't know if it's the cast or the pacing or what, but it doesn't do it for me. And I feel like the movie that year that should have won Best Picture was one of my favorite films of all time, 12 Angry Men. Sidney Lumet's feature directorial debut, 12 Angry Men, I feel like it's better every time I revisit it. That is such a great film. The Bridge on the River Quai, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that Best Picture Oscar win, to be honest. Number 7, Best Actor, Jean Dujardin, The Artist. Here's something else I'm going to reveal to you now. I didn't really like The Artist that much. Like, it was fine. I remember feeling like, oh, this is kind of cool. They're doing a silent movie in 2011. You, of course, never see that kind of film done anymore. So while watching the movie, I admired it fine. It had some fun moments, but I haven't really thought about The Artist since. And on Oscars night in early 2012, I was a little stupefied why it was winning everything, including Best Actor for Jean Dujardin. Again, he's doing something in that movie you don't typically see an actor these days try to attempt, like a silent film performance for 2 hours, or however long that movie is. But in Best Actor that year, I would have preferred pretty much everyone else in that category. I think Brad Pitt in Moneyball gives an incredible performance, and it feels like George Clooney should have a Best Actor Oscar win by now, especially since he lost for Michael Clayton, and then 2 years after that lost for Up in the Air, and then 2 years after that he was up for The Descendants, where he won at Golden Globes, and I think at Critics' Choice too. Like, at the beginning of that season, it looked like George Clooney might win the Oscar for The Descendants, but then Jean Dujardin just swept in and took the gold trophy, and we haven't really heard from him since. Like, what movies has he made since The Artist? Like, I don't know, that just felt like a moment in time that quickly was gone, and a year later, 2 years later, nobody was talking about The Artist. That was the Harvey Weinstein awards campaign marketing machine doing its thing at the end of 2011 into early 2012. So yeah, Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Jean Dujardin. Not great. Number 6, Best Actress, Jessica Tandy, Driving Miss Daisy.
What's his name? Worthington?
Wortham.
Worthing. Never heard of that one before. What kind of name is that?
It's a German derivation.
So if you've been following my channel, you know how much I love actresses. I love lifting up great performances by women. Women in film is my jam. So you're not going to see too many female actors on this list. But if there's one Best Actress win I've always kind of hated, I've always been like, really? Like, really? It's Jessica Tandy winning Best Actress over Michelle Pfeiffer for The Fabulous Baker Boys in early 1990 for Driving Miss Daisy. I mean, kind of like Gandhi, Driving Miss Daisy is another relic of the 1980s to win Best Picture and also a major acting category. I just don't think that has aged very well. Nothing against Jessica Tandy, of course. She is an amazing actress, and I have loved her in many movies, and she's good in Driving Miss Daisy. But I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's worthy of a Best Actress Oscar win. It feels like something that wins the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress in a motion picture, comedy, or musical, and then we leave it there. Like, we don't also give it Best Actress at the Oscars. Michelle Pfeiffer is one of my favorite actresses. I've done an Elusive Oscar video about her. I think she is kind of underrated, honestly. She is extraordinary. I don't necessarily love her first Oscar nomination for Dangerous Liaisons or her third Oscar nomination for Love Fields, but I do think maybe her best performance in the movies is the fabulous Baker Boys. She is on another level in that movie, and she won at the Golden Globes the same night that Tandy won a Golden Globe. And I feel like the rest of that award season, we should have put our focus on Pfeiffer, not Tandy. That's just my opinion. I mean, I don't even think you can compare those two performances. I think Pfeiffer is way better and should have won. And then today, regardless of what happens the rest of her career, Pfeiffer would have a much-deserved Academy Award. Jessica Tandy for Driving Miss Daisy, I just like, no. Number 5, Best Actor, Paul Scofield, A Man for All Seasons.
I am sick to think how much I must displease your grace.
Oh, Thomas, I respect your sincerity.
Here is another Best Actor win. I just kind of shrug my shoulders. I'm like, Richard Burton, one of the greats. Richard Burton got nominated for an Oscar 7 times throughout his career. He never won. And for me, the performance he should have won for easily was in early 1967 for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Mike Nichols' feature directorial debut that I just think is a perfect movie. I love that film. I think Elizabeth Taylor's Best Actress Oscar win for that movie is the finest acting Oscar win of the 1960s. Like, that is awesome. And you know what else would have made that list? Richard Burton winning Best Actor. Now, I feel like a lot of people really admire, like, maybe love A Man for All Seasons. It did win Best Picture and Best Director, and then Best Actor for Paul Scofield. I tried to watch that movie once a few years ago, and it didn't really connect. I was like, it's fine, like, it's okay, it's well made, it looks nice. But comparing that film to Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, I just think one is so much better than the other. And as decent of a job Scofield does in A Man for All Seasons, I think the clear victor here in this category at the Oscars should have been Richard Burton. For his all-timer performance, I have loved him in a bunch of movies, but my favorite performance of his will always be Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Paul Scofield in A Man for All Seasons, you can take it or leave it with me. Number 4, Best Picture, Dances with Wolves.
Actually, sir, I'm here at my own request.
Really? Why?
I've always wanted to see the frontier.
Alright, so another controversial take. I feel like I'm going to be attacked for this video. I'm just like, oh my god. I mean, talking about Oscar wins that I think most people like or love is kind of a scary proposition. Like, you know, I feel like everyone's gonna come at me like, what are you talking about, you idiot, you moron? Dances with Wolves is a masterpiece. One of the great movies of the 90s. I'm sure a lot of you might think that. For me, kind of like A Man for All Seasons and Gandhi, like, I don't really connect with Dances with Wolves. It came out when I was 6 years old. If I had been a teenager at the time, an adult, like, maybe I would have more appreciation for it now. I did finally watch it when I was older. I want to say I was in my early 20s. And, like, the movie's fine. I didn't hate the movie. But, like, winning Best Picture at the Oscars over Goodfellas? That is my favorite Scorsese film. I probably revisit Goodfellas every 2 or 3 years, and I just love every second of it. And in a long career for Scorsese that has gotten him so many Oscar nominations, it is very strange to me, to this day, that he did not win Best Director for Goodfellas, and that the movie did not win Picture. I mean, I guess it was because of the violence, but the Academy gave The Silence of the Lambs Best Picture a year after, and that is an amazing Best Picture win. So, like, why couldn't we do it for Goodfellas? Why did we have to go with Dances with Wolves? I'm not a huge Kevin Costner fan, and, like, big, epic extravaganzas sometimes work for me, but other times I'm like, can we speed this up? Like, can we get to the third act here? And yeah, I mean, if Goodfellas wasn't in this category, maybe I'd feel better about the Dances with Wolves Best Picture win. But, no. That should have gone to Goodfellas. Come on. Number 3, Best Actor, Matthew McConaughey, Dallas Buyers Club.
Now that's the shit that'll rot your insides. What a surprise. FDA approved.
Now here is a Best Actor Oscar win I don't think I've ever talked about on the channel. Like my YouTube channel, The Awards Contender, goes back to 2021. I have made, more than 250 videos now? 300 videos? Something like that? And I don't think I've ever talked about the McConaughey win for Best Actor in 2014 because, I kind of hate it. It just felt to me like a coronation. It was like, okay, McConaughey, you're having the McConaissance with all of these interesting dramatic performances. He had 4 performances, maybe 5 in 2012 going into early 2013. That was kind of a return to form. Like he was doing really good work. And I love some of those performances. Magic Mike, he's really great in that. And Mud, I really enjoy. But Dallas Buyers Club, I thought was kind of a slog. I didn't really respond to that movie. I felt like in a really stellar year of film that was 2013. Did we have to give Best Actor to McConaughey for that movie? Did he have to sweep the season? What really bummed me out there was I thought the clear Best Actor winner that year, by far, was Leonardo DiCaprio for The Wolf of Wall Street. Martin Scorsese again. DiCaprio has a go-for-broke performance in that movie that lasts 3 hours. Dramatic, comedic, all over the place, big speeches. It is one of DiCaprio's finest performances in his long career. And I'm like, we really have to give it to McConaughey here? Really? For me, it kind of felt like a career Oscar moment just to reward him for his last few solid performances. And because in Dallas Buyers Club, he lost a lot of weight. It was a physical transformation. So we got to give him an Oscar. And I was just never into it that season. I was like, no. DiCaprio should be winning everything for Wolf of Wall Street. This is ridiculous. And if DiCaprio had won for Wolf of Wall Street, I wonder what would have happened 2 years later with The Revenant. I don't think they would have given him a second Oscar that quickly. DiCaprio would have won for the right movie. He has continued to do excellent work. Whereas after Interstellar, I would say, McConaughey has come up short time and time again. He hasn't done very much good work on film in the last decade. And so that was weird. I wasn't a fan. I'm not a fan now. McConaughey winning Best Actor for Dallas Buyers Club? No. Number 2, Best Picture, Gladiator.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Alright, and here is something else I don't really talk about on the channel. I don't like Gladiator. I never have. I saw it opening weekend, so excited. In 2000, I was 15 years old, and I knew of Ridley Scott. I loved Alien and Blade Runner, and I knew he had directed Gladiator. I was a big fan of The Insider, so I was excited to see another Russell Crowe performance, and there was just a buzz in the theater that night. I remember in early May of 2000, the summer movie season was just starting, and I thought, oh, this is going to be amazing. And I sat there for 2+ hours, bored out of my mind. I thought the movie looked murky. The characters never fully came to life for me. The action sequences were okay, but not super memorable. The CGI, for the most part, looked pretty terrible. And I walked out of Gladiator super disappointed. I was like, man, I was expecting something great there, and it did not deliver at all. And so it was weird the next few months hearing all of the praise for Gladiator. My cousin Ryan called it his favorite movie of all time. I remember that. He told me, that's my favorite movie. And then you get to the Oscars in 2001, and I'm like, is Gladiator actually going to win Best Picture? Is this going to happen? Up against much better films like Aaron Brockovich and Traffic, and especially Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That would have been an awesome Best Picture win. I would have loved that. And when Russell Crowe beat Tom Hanks for Best Actor, I went, uh-oh. I just remember thinking, is a movie that disappointed me to that extent actually going to win Best Picture of the Year? And then it did. And I was like, oh, I just was deflated at the end of that ceremony. I was like, oh, no, not Gladiator, come on. And I would say in the last 20 plus years, I have revisited Gladiator twice. Like around 2010, I watched it, and around 2020, I watched it again. I remember when I watched it in 2020, I was like, okay. Kind of like how I talked about with the bridge on the River Quai. I was like, okay, I'm older, I'm wiser. I think I'm going to like Gladiator. And I had the same reaction in 2020 that I did in 2000. I was just like an hour in, I was like, I can't even watch this movie anymore. I find it so deadly boring. I do not connect with that movie. I don't understand why people love it as much as they do. And yeah, I hate that Best Picture Oscar win. There were so many better movies that year that could have won the big prize. Gladiator should not have even been nominated, honestly. All right, and finally, my number one choice. What is the Oscar win I hate the most? This is going to probably shock many of you, but it's the one I thought of first. My number one choice is Best Actress, Judy Holiday, Born Yesterday.
Diamond bracelets for worth doesn't sell. What?
Oh my God, do I hate this win. This Oscar win annoys me more than any other. I don't have anything against Judy Holiday. She's perfectly fine in Born Yesterday. And you know what? She even could have won Best Actress in a different year. But seriously, Judy Holiday for Born Yesterday winning Best Actress over two of the landmark female performances of all time, Bette Davis in All About Eve, and especially Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard. It pisses me off. What the hell happened? What went down that year that more voters went with Holiday for her amusing comedic performance in Born Yesterday over Davis and Swanson? It is baffling to me. I know there are many people who love Holiday in that movie, who love this Best Actress win, and I don't get it. I don't get that one. When I finally watched Born Yesterday, I want to say it was about 10 years ago, I was like, really? Like, really? This gets Best Actress over Bette Davis and Gloria Swanson? Like, what were we smoking back then? Okay, part of it is two of my favorite films of the 50s are All About Eve and Sunset Boulevard. Particularly Billy Wilder's Sunset Boulevard is my favorite film of all time. I have watched it at least 20 to 25 times, and I love every frame of that movie. My favorite performance ever in the movies is Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard, and that just feels like the obvious choice to have won Best Actress that year. I mean, she was a previous nominee. She got 2 Best Actress nominations at the very beginning of the Academy Awards. And then she's kind of off the map for a long time, comes back with this iconic character and performance in Sunset Boulevard, knocks it out of the park. She's so good, she can't really get another movie role the rest of her career because she did such an extraordinary job in Sunset Boulevard, and most people just thought she was like playing herself, which she wasn't. Sunset Boulevard got lots of Oscar nominations, 4 acting nominations. It got into picture and director, so they loved the movie. They clearly were watching it and enjoying it. And like Best Picture and Director going to All About Eve, I can live with that. I still think it should have gone to Sunset Boulevard. But All About Eve is amazing. If Bette Davis had won a 3rd Oscar for Best Actress over Swanson, I also could have lived with that because Davis is so great in All About Eve. I adore that performance. But Judy Holiday winning Best Actress for what I think is a pretty forgettable performance in Born Yesterday, that should not have happened. I don't understand to this day why it happened. I feel like this prize should have gone to the incredible Gloria Swanson for her all-timer performance in Sunset Boulevard, Judy Holiday for Born Yesterday. Ugh, I hate that Oscar win.